Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today I played an offlane Void game. I'm going to be teaching you guys how to play it. And no, I'm not being ironic, and it's not a meme. This is something I took from Amar. I took inspiration. I don't know if he did it as a joke, but he owned a pub as it, like owned. He was top net worth throughout the game, and in this game I played, you'll notice that I have a fantastic match, right? My score ends up being flawless throughout, 6-0 and 19, no deaths. Now to be fair, it's definitely a game where I think it's pretty hard for them to kill me. They do have Shackle Shot, they do have Lasso, and they do have Ogre Stun, so of course I could die, right? They also have Chen heal, so maybe I overcommit into the heals. But at the end of the day, I think I play my limits extremely well. I am ranked 34, which is 10k MMR, so I think I do have good things to say, and let's get into it. Alright, before we get into the main part of the video, I do want to let you guys know that I'm not only posting videos here on YouTube, I also frequently post videos on the website. If you don't know what I'm talking about, almost every single day I'm posting a new video to the gameleap website. We're going to teach you guys in depth about how to get to the next level. So if you want to become absolutely broken and really take your game to the next level, I'm going to be able to help you, because sometimes the guides on YouTube, there's either not enough of them, they're not specific, or they're just tier lists, which I know you guys love, but at the end of the day, the gameleap website is going to help you get to the next level. So click the link down below and sign up. Now, the reason why I picked Faceless Void, I actually had last pick this game, and I wasn't sure which offlaner to pick. I really didn't know. I was kind of looking for a counter pick to the Wind Ranger and the Bat Rider, and I'm like, okay, what counters Wind Ranger and what counters Bat Rider? Well, something that counters both of these heroes are BKB Piercing Disables. Wind less so, because she doesn't go BKB as much now, but certainly Bat Rider. And what also counters Wind is, well, just Hard Stun in general. And I was like, oh, okay, what is that? Well, there's Faceless Void. Time Dilation's really good against Bat Rider. That's kind of what spiked the thought. I'm like, yeah, it's Bat Rider. Getting rid of the Sticky Napalm, right, spam, and the Firefly, and his ulti has 4 active spells. He gets destroyed by Time Dilation. And then they last picked Timber, and then they lane swapped. I'm not kidding, they lane swapped. They put the Timber here. So now I was like, oh, this is going to be a bad lane, but it ended up being fine. Void's pretty decent in lane. To be fair, I think Chen's kind of bad in lane, so I will say that. But Void's pretty damn good in lane. 67 base damage, 5 armor, 300 movement speed is solid, right? And Time Walk is pretty good against Timber, because if he Qs me, right, if he nukes me, I can just walk it off. So the key in this lane was playing pretty defensive in the early levels and really not looking for a lot of pressure until I could get a good opportunity with Time Dilation and the help of Clinks. And that's how I saw this lane, right? Against this Timbersaw and against most heroes, I'm not going to put significant pressure. I do think that if you're playing Faceless Void offlane, if you want to give this a shot, and you're against a weak hero, for instance, Amar was against an Animage, he skilled Bash at level 1 because Animage doesn't pressure him very well, and when Animage traded with him, he actually bashed him once. The techies he was laning with dropped a Sticky Bomb and a grenade, and a blood grenade, and they got the first blood. It was pretty impressive. So that's one option you can take as well. I wouldn't recommend taking Time Dilation though. In terms of starting items, I'm just maxing out on stats. I don't think you need Quelling on this hero because it delays your Magic Wand or Wraithband timing, and you already have such high damage, so it's still useful to go Quelling, but you certainly do not need it. And from there, as I said, I'm kind of just looking for any opportunity to Time Walk off his Qs. So anytime he Qs me, I'm going to Time Walk it off. I was debating what to take at level 2 because typically you're just going to take Bash. Time Dilation is good against certain heroes, like it's definitely decent against Timber, and I considered skilling it, right? However, it's much better against a hero like Weaver, where if I can slow him and stick on top of him, then I'm going to really punish him. If I slow Timber, I don't think it really does anything, you know what I mean? So I don't think there's much value in actually slowing him, so I didn't skill anything here. I probably should have just skilled Bash right away so that anytime I hit Timber, I get the chance to just do a little bit of extra damage, but it can mess up your last hits a little bit. Now, this is the only time I actually decided to go on Timber, and the reason why is I assumed Chen was either getting a creep or pulling. And so in a hard lane like this, against the hero with high armor, what you can do is just wait for an opportunity for the guy to be alone, and then Time Dilation destroys him, because right, he's going to cast his Q, and then if he Timber Chains away, he takes even more Time Dilation damage. It also slows attack speed, which is kind of the major thing. It's attack speed and movement speed by 10% per spell, and so let's say he casts 2 abilities, he actually is going to get like really beat down and won't be able to trade back due to the attack speed slow. And this applies to any matchup, right? That 20% attack speed slow on a hero with 2 spells on cooldown is very, very notable. And you notice as I cast my W on him, by the way, it costs no mana, so with Magic Wand I'm never going to have mana problems. I'm actually beating him up, right? I'm trading extremely effectively into him here, and so yeah, I was just impressed. A little bit of an opportunity with Chen away, and a decent time dilation when the Q is down, and we got good damage on Timber, and that's going to set up for a pretty easy lane for the next few minutes. Now, of course, because of the fact that I'm like, I wouldn't say counter-picked, but there's no way for me to pressure a Timber Saw with 2 points reactive armor, right? All I can do at this point in the lane is survive and play for the mid game, but that's fine because you're playing Faceless Void, right? This hero scales incredibly well into the mid game and into the late game. And in the laning stage, you're fine, right? It's just a pretty well-rounded hero overall. It doesn't farm the fastest, and obviously when Chronosphere is on cooldown, it doesn't feel that good, but I picked up my treads, I got my Wraith Band, I got my wand, and honestly what enabled my game to be OP this game was the Primal Beast rotations. This guy came in quite a few times, and it really helped me out. And now with the Timber Saw dead, I actually push in the creep wave to make sure that he misses the wave under tower, right? So anytime you kill your laning partner, it's important to push in the wave as fast as you can. Or if you can keep it back, that's fine too, but I couldn't really keep it back. And so I just made sure that he missed a few creeps, or one creep, I think it was 1 or 2, to the tower. And then we actually dragged the next wave, right? I didn't want to lane against the guy, like directly one-on-one. As I said, it's just not a good matchup at this point. And so I was happy to kill him, push in the wave, drag the next one, and then go from there. And then, yeah, this is where time dilation is just such a broken ability, because watch this from the Timbersaw's perspective. He gets gone on, he casts his Q on me defensively, but that's a mistake, because now he has 30% less movement speed, and he can't cast any of his abilities, right? Like, literally, he can't cast his spells. He gets completely stuck and dies, and that's just how the matchup goes. It's why pro teams pick Faceless Void into Timber. In pro games, even though the lane isn't good, right, I would say it's Timber favored. I'm beating him now because of the rotations. I would say it's Timber favored, but it doesn't matter because time dilation is so good against this hero. Once you get into the mid game, it forces him to buy Lotus. So we max out our Q here. Honestly, you don't have to do this. It just depends on your lane. If it's really easy for some reason, you can max bash and put a lot of pressure. I'm against Timber and he's chipping me with nukes, so I felt it was reasonable for me to go for the time walk, right? And then I hit a nice little edge chrono there to allow the trample to come through, and we pick up another kill. So as I said, I got super enabled by my Primal this game, and then we're gonna go Mask of Madness. And the reason why I like Mask of Madness is it allows you to farm, right? It's nice for that. It gives you sustain. So one of the problems with Void is, yes, Time Walk helps a little with sustain, but if you get chipped out or you try to farm camps, you don't have any way to heal that off, right? None of your abilities heal that off, and you don't farm that quickly. So you take quite a bit of damage from creep camps. The Morbid Mask, right, that builds into the Mask of Madness allows you to actually stay full health and not be susceptible to ganks. So that's a big part. And then of course, Mask of Madness plus Chrono is very, very good. And on top of that, then I'm gonna be going Diffusal Blade, right? I'm gonna have a Diffusal Blade, and when I have that, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click Diffusal, click Time Dilation. That's gonna slow them by like a bajillion %. And then I'm gonna click Mask of Madness, and that's gonna kill them, and you'll see that play out. So yeah, you're trying to farm your lane for as long as possible. Don't really like over-rotate. I wouldn't look at this hero as some sort of like Primal Beast that just wants to rotate and kill people. Can you? Yeah, sure. Like right now, they're actually diving mid, and there is probably an opportunity for me to TP and help out with time dilation. And funny enough, that's exactly what I do. I see my team sort of overextending, right? They're kind of just like running into the enemy heroes, which, you know, is pretty questionable from them. The Primal Beast goes in, and what we're gonna look to do here is get a nice time dilation. And yeah, this is why this hero is insane, because now Ogre Magi just simply will never be able to cast Fire Blast and Ignite. He's slowed up. The Wind Ranger is completely screwed because it's a 40% slow, right? With the Wind Run, she's not even moving at max movement speed, and she'll be completely useless, right? She's just useless in this fight. And same thing with Batrider, a 40% slow onto him as well. And yeah, this is the value. We're able to stick on top of them, and they can't fight back due to the time dilation. This ability is insane. It's insane, right? It's just insane. And then our Chrono came back up, and skadoosh! The 2-man Chrono. Just so much utility. And yeah, I didn't pump out damage that team fight, but you don't have to. That's why this hero is a pretty good offlaner. Your contributions to the early fights is mostly time dilation, and then if you have Chrono, Chrono. And yes, I do a little bit of physical damage, right? But I'm maxing time dilation, and I don't recommend maxing time dilation every game. I would just do it if it's a good game for the spell, right? If they have a hero like Batrider or Wind Ranger, right? Heroes that have 4 active abilities, if most of their heroes have 4 active abilities, then I would pick it up, right? They have 3 heroes on the enemy team. There's 3 heroes on the enemy team with 4 active abilities, and Ogre Magi is pretty close to that as well at 3. So it just felt like the right game to do it. And then from there, when your Chrono's on cooldown, don't be afraid to farm. You still can look for kills though. Like for instance here, if this Batrider didn't TP, I'm pretty sure we would have killed him. Unfortunately, he TP'd right at the perfect time, so I wasn't able to go get in with the Diffusal and the Mask of Madness, but we would have definitely taken him out. But it's okay, because with the Mask of Madness, you can push in creep waves very quickly. The reason why I don't like any sort of other Void build that would revolve around being tanky or like buying utility items, even though it like kind of makes sense. You know, I can go Meteor Hammer on this hero. I can go like some Radiance. Even though these items seemingly can have value, I think the problem with them is that when your Chrono's on cooldown, your hero's an absolute bot if you go these like utility items. You don't do anything, right? You don't farm fast, you can't kill neutrals, you don't threaten any heroes, you just don't do anything. You'll see in this clip, you're still pretty survivable. If you get gone on with the treads, you turn them obviously into strength if you need to. This guy walked up to me. Joke's on him. I don't know if he just didn't check my items or he thinks I'm weak. I don't know what he was thinking, to be honest. Because he walked up to me thinking he's strong, but he clicked 2 abilities. I should have time dilation. I don't know why I didn't time dilation him. I definitely should have done that. But like, before he gets off lasso, I do get off time dilation here. But before he gets off lasso, I did half his health. You can see how much damage you do with the mask diffusal. Because typically you would get kited, right? If you don't get consistent bashes without diffusal, you're gonna get kited. And so I get gone on, they mess up the shackle. To be fair, the guy didn't really have an angle. They try to chase me, but Batrider's time dilated, so he can't actually keep the sticky going, which means he can't do anything to me. And so yeah, my hero, being the Batrider counter it is, chops him out. Go back in on Wind Ranger, whose Wind Run was on cooldown. We time dilate that, and we beat her up. And time dilation once again proves to be the best spell against these 2 heroes. And so yeah, it was really, really panning out. The pick was making a lot of sense. And from there, even with Chrono up, I was looking to farm. Like, I'm always looking to connect, right? At this point, I'm so damn strong. I am looking to connect to fights. The Wind Ranger ends up showing here. The reason why I went on her is they were taking a fight bottom. Yes, it's under a tower, but this is kind of just like high Mamar map awareness. You have to be able to do this. If you're gonna dive a tower, it's gotta be because you see people in another side of the map doing something, so they're not ready to TP, right? And that's exactly what was happening. You see something happening bottom, I'm like, okay. I probably should have just chronoed her right away. I don't know. I ended up doing it. Yes, it's a support kill, and that might seem insane, but how I see this hero is that I'm another scaling core, right? If you watch a lot of these pro teams, guys, they have 3 scaling cores, right? People are like, oh, I'm the offlane. I have to create space and open up the map for my safe laner. It's like, yeah, you do, but you also gotta scale. Like, if your hero falls off in minute 20 and does nothing from then on out, the build is probably bad, right? And so I'm happy to scale, use the chrono for kills. I will say, right, maybe I don't chrono her, right? Maybe I don't, I will admit, but still, with the time dilation and the mask and the diffusal, I can pump damage even onto something like an ogre with a crimson. I can eventually bash him down, and once again, the time dilation comes into play. And another cool thing is because you have time walk, you're a tanky hero, right? If your matchups are good, which mine are pretty good this game, I can play very, very aggressive, right? I can place certain parts of the map that other heroes just wouldn't. Other offlane heroes would just feed to Batrider. A hero like Batrider, right, would just straight up counter other heroes. But for me, that's not a problem whatsoever, right? I don't care about the Batrider. He can't gank me, right? He can't set up on me. Timbersaw, right? Timbersaw could bully out a lot of traditional offlaners. Doom, Underlord, Beastmaster, right? He could bully these heroes out. FACELESS Void doesn't have that problem, right? It's actually the exact opposite. I'm more of a threat to him, and then, oh, look at this team fight. The Chrono! Oh! We had a 3-man Chrono, but the bigger thing, the 3-man time dilation, yeah, this fight is absolutely over. Massive, massive Chrono. That was just a good read, and get across the map really quickly because of the time walk, right? You can kind of just get across the map. In terms of skill build as well, don't take your talent at level 10. They're just not very good. Just skill up your abilities. I would say the time walk backtrack is okay. It might be tempting to take time dilation damage per second, but I don't really see the value of the ability as damage, right? I'm not like maxing time dilation so it does more damage. Even though it does, I don't really think that's why it's particularly good. If you put 4 abilities on cooldown, that's 4 times 19. That's what, 76 damage per second for 11 seconds? It is kind of disgusting how much it can do. That's like a 600 damage nuke. I will admit, that does make it seem better than I would have imagined. But to be fair, the ability already does like 400, so it's already just good in and of itself. But okay, from there, we're farming it up because we have good items. We can still farm, right? With the Diffusal and the Mask of Madness. And we got our BKB completed, right? And the reason why I go BKB this game, even though it is a good game for my hero, I just feel like as long as I can go in and kill off one person in the Chrono, I'm happy, right? I don't want to get shackled in the Chrono. I don't want to get fire blasted in the Chrono. So I did consider going Manta this game because the Manta, I can Manta dodge Shackle Shot. I can click Manta when Ochre Magi is mid Fire Blast animation, right? It's very good against stuns you can react to, and those are 2 that you can react to. Stuns you can't react to are like Hex, right? So against Lion, I would be more inclined to buy Lincoln's or BKB, right? I'd probably just go BKB. And yeah, that's gonna put us at the top of the net worth. It's pretty crazy that I'm out farming a Templar Assassin, right? Like, I guess to be fair, this guy isn't farm very fast. He had a horrible lane. Like, my TA, you might be like, oh, Speed, you picked a game where your team is owning. It's like, are you sure? This is their offlaner, this is my safe laner. You cannot tell me I picked a game where my team was 1v9ing. I will admit my Primal beating a Batrider mid is pretty nuts. Like, that matchup is not that good for Primal. So, but you cannot tell me I nitpicked some game, right? This game was even until minute 13, right? I was owning, and me and Primal were owning at this point in the game, right? I'm even net worth with a Midas Ogre. All right, you can't tell me this build and this gameplay is not legit. This shit is legit. But from there, I'm taking a very aggressive posture on the map. I'm not really looking to farm because I don't farm that fast. I don't want to play a farm game against Batrider and Timber. Right, you might be like, oh, Speed, you said to farm. Yes, farm when Chrono is on cooldown and when the enemy team is not in a position to be ganked. If they're playing like wusses, if they're sitting in their base, no, I'm not gonna dive them. I'm gonna, right, hit some neutrals, push in the lanes. But with all of our lanes pushed in, the only lane that's not pushing is bottom, but I'm not gonna TP bottom, right? I wanna stay in position to fight. I considered dropping a Chrono here, but I was afraid my teammates were too far away. They're all full HP, they're gonna get Crimson. I'm not solo killing anyone here. So I think it was the right decision not to Chrono. Also, my Primal died, so I'd be forcing a 4-on-5, so I think it was actually very, very important that I don't Chrono there. That's like probably the biggest reason I'm 10k. Like, that was probably one of the best plays I made. And it might seem insane, but when you are the Chrono, you have a big responsibility to lead the fight, right? So it's kind of same thing here, right? I could Chrono this guy, but I'm just like, okay, you know, I'm fighting into 3 heroes. My TA's not here, my Primal's not here. I don't think I have the damage. It's very important that I do not force the issue. However, look at this clip, right? This is the difference. This is what we call map awareness, boys. If you want to get to a high level, this is the most important skill in the mid to late game. Map awareness, number advantages. Why is this better than the other ones? Because Timber and Wind showed top. I quickly recognized that. I'm like, yep, they're not together. This Ogre is alone. Time dilation, he's useless. And we kill him off, right? Bada bing, bada boom, shablang. Yeah, now that gives us a bit of an opportunity to push. I think we kind of couldn't because they had lasso, so we didn't feel too comfortable pushing. My team ended up taking a fight in their triangle, though. The enemy team kind of griefed here, so I Chrono the Ogre. It's fine to solo Chrono, right? That guy's pretty high value. He's honestly their most farmed hero and most useful hero, so I don't mind solo Chronoing him. Like, I really have no problem. I knew Phoenix could follow it up. The fight was kind of already in a good spot. I knew taking him out would guarantee a 1 fight and guarantee racks, because then there's no Crimson, there's no Bloodlust to defend the buildings. So yeah, that's going to be all for today's video, as this game basically just ends with another team fight. Hopefully you guys are inspired. I really believe something that I'm pretty passionate about right now is that I believe a big part of the future of Dota is going to be offlaners as played in the safe lane. And basically, I believe that teams will pick 2 safe laners and there's going to be teams that pick 2 offlaners. I think has been for a long time now a shallow-minded view that you have to pick a safe laner in the safe lane, like a traditional safe laner in the safe lane, and a traditional offlaner in the offlane. And yes, does that make Dota easy and simple? Typically, yes. And the reason why is safe laners hit a harder timing. And so the offlaner should, you know, get your team through the mid game, and then your carry should carry in the late game. But the reason why I don't think this has to be the case is there's a lot of safe lane, quote unquote, safe lane heroes that fulfill the role as an offlaner, right? They do. We've seen the Medusa offlane recently. To be fair, it was because the hero was broken, but that was an example of it. The build changed, but she accomplished the role of being a wave clear plus good laner plus tank, right? She was a body for her team with the Phylactery. She was an early game nuke hero that then scaled. We saw Mar playing Slark, right, in the recent Bali Major. That's, you know, that's pretty damn cool. So there's just a lot of different heroes that have the opportunity to play roles that they just aren't seen as. And yeah, I'm just excited for that. I'm excited for Dota to branch out over time. I think it will take a while still because, you know, roles and how Dota has shaped is mostly for a good reason. I'm not going to say like, oh, I think like it's completely wrong. Like, no, I don't believe that. I think Dota has shaped the way it has for good reason. But I think there's a lot that people are missing. They're missing picking really good heroes last in drafts or late in drafts, right? Late in all pick or late in ranked, right? If you're the last pick of the draft, or if you just see that their support heroes are weak to a certain type of hero. Like for instance, I think Naga offlane is like pretty good, right? The reason why I believe that is the hero provides a lot of utility. It can set up team fights, it can push waves, it can fight, mid game with certain item builds. I just think that the hero has potential. So I'll stop ranting now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, before you tune out, subscribe to the GameLeap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.